Hi everyone, this is Lara Hammock from the Marble Jar channel. And in today's video, I'm going to give my summary and takeaways from the book More Attention, Less Deficit: Success Strategies for Adults with ADHD by Ari Tuckman. So I'm going to implement a little more structure to my book summary videos so that I'm more likely to make them. My new structure is going to be a quick overview of what the book is about, who the author is, and who the book is for. Then I'm going to review the structure of the book, talk about whether I recommend it and why. And let's be honest, I really only do summaries of books that I'm willing to recommend. And 5 to 10 takeaways that stood out for me. So let's start with an overview. So this nearly 400-page book is a comprehensive book on adult ADHD. It was written in 2009, which means that it lacks some up-to-date tech strategies. For one thing, smartphones were not widely used back then. But it is a complete reference book for adults who may be struggling with ADHD. As a therapist, I also found the content incredibly useful. The treatment of ADHD is considered a specialization, despite the fact that upwards of 20% of clients seeking mental health services present with ADHD symptoms. Since I have mild ADHD myself, I know more than the typical therapist through my own reading and experience, but even so, I learned quite a bit from this book. Ari Tuckman is a psychologist who has a practice outside of Philadelphia and specials in ADHD, couples therapy, and sex therapy. Okay, so you can tell that Dr. Tuckman is familiar with ADHD reading preferences just in the way that he structured the book. It is made up of 1 to 2 page articles on different topics. And although there is an organized structure to the way that they are ordered, you can easily dip in and out and read only the articles that are of interest or are relevant to you. Brilliant. I also like the way he's structured the information in the book. It makes sense to me. So it's in sections. First, understanding ADHD, which includes the definition and executive functions, diagnosing ADHD in the brain, why ADHD affects your life. Then treatment, which covers medication, therapy and coaching, non-traditional treatments. Then goes into skills building, so self-esteem and effectiveness, memory management, time management, organization, tools and goals. And then goes into specific areas of life, so household chores, relationships, college, and work. So if you already know about ADHD and are simply reading to learn some new skills, you can skip directly to that section, or you can read it from start to finish the way that I did. So I would definitely recommend this book if you have ADHD, particularly if you were diagnosed later in life, or if someone you love has it. In addition, I think it's a great primer for therapists since we are on the front lines of diagnosis, and we can help to ease some of the suffering around the struggles that having ADHD can inject into modern life. So I love the author's tone. He is chatty and casual. His metaphors and sayings are memorable, and they make sense to me. Again, it could use an update since it was written in 2009, which makes some of his tools and recommendations obsolete. Think Palm Pilots and wall calendars. But it is easy to read, and it's chock full of great information. Takeaways. Okay, so this is the part of the video where I pick out 5 to 10 things that stood out for me, either because it was new information or because it was an interesting way of thinking about or presenting something. 4-part integrative treatment model. So I have plenty of clients with ADHD and embrace all of these treatment steps, but I liked hearing them all spelled out. The 4-step treatment process is education, medication. He has a strong preference for stimulant medication, as do I. Coaching, and then therapy. So which leads me to my next big takeaway, which is the difference between coaching and therapy. Again, this is a bit murky for me since I happen to do both of these things in my practice. But coaching is about skills building, strategies, and effectively handling the daily demands of life. ADHD coaches tend to meet by phone and can have regular email check-ins between calls. In contrast, therapy can help to address some of the negative core beliefs that can come from a lifetime of undiagnosed ADHD. Which brings us to the next takeaway, the 5 common core beliefs held by people with ADHD. Here they are. I can't trust myself, I'm a failure, I'm inadequate, I'm incompetent, and I'm unstable. Again, working through these negative core beliefs is best done with a licensed therapist. Mourning. So perhaps this goes without saying, but if you're diagnosed with ADHD as an adult, it can be really emotional. It can be such a relief to hear that there's an explanation for the issues that you have had that doesn't point to a massive character flaw like laziness or stupidity. But also it can be sad to think back on how difficult things have been for you and how things could have been if you'd figured this out earlier in life. Mourning both past losses and loss of potential for the future is a big part of the process. Change. To change things, first you must resist the immediate temptation and then make a better choice. So there is a stop doing piece and a start doing piece. I liked this piece of information. Big emotions. Adults with ADHD may be more likely to struggle with strong emotional reactions because A, they have brain-based impulsivity that doesn't allow for a pause between feelings and actions, and B, they are reacting to a lifetime of bad experiences and are primed to get upset. Addressing core deficits. So Dr. Tuckman has a general theory on how to overcome typical ADHD challenges, which is based on minimizing or maximizing. So for inattention, you minimize extraneous stimuli like social media or distractions and maximize relevant stimuli like things you want to get done. For hyperactivity, you maximize situations where you can move and be restless, and you minimize situations that require more restraint. And for impulsivity, you maximize or create barriers to problematic impulsive actions and minimize the potential damage or costs of impulsive behavior. Pithy sayings. I love Dr. Tuckman's memorable sayings. Here are a couple of examples. If ADHD is a gift, then why does my present suck so much? You can't leave the past in the past if it's still happening in the present. This is from Russell Barker. ADHD is not a problem of knowing what to do. It's a problem of doing what you know. For ADHD, there is too much now and not enough past or future. Medication closes the gap between intentions and actualization. Great metaphors. I also really like some of his metaphors. They help to better understand and also explain to others difficult concepts. Here's a couple of examples of those. So for locus of control, he talks about problems with a barbecue. You can control whether you buy enough hot dog buns. That's an internal locus of control. But you can't blame yourself for the rain. That's external locus of control. ADHD medication. He says, I have bad eyes, so I have to wear glasses. It's a hassle. But I do it because it's better than driving into other cars. But I don't feel bad about myself for having bad eyes, and I certainly don't blame myself for it. No one asks me to try to see well. So how are bad eyes any different from ADHD brain wiring? And finally, he gives a ton of specific strategies for dealing with the executive functioning problems that characterize ADHD. So these are all grouped according to issue, but include reducing distractions, using timers, writing things down, having a calendar, making a plan, pushing through boredom, using lots of clocks, putting objects in plain sight, developing routine, body doubling, active processing, building in downtime, using self-talk, and chunking projects. And that's just a sample of the strategies he suggests. So if you are an adult with ADHD, you will benefit from reading this book. You will feel better about yourself, you'll understand the process more, and you'll have some specific strategies to try that might make life easier. Let me know what you think. Comments are always appreciated, and thanks for watching.